Hi, Fashion Dolls. It is Thankful Thursday, April 3rd, and welcome to an all new episode of Style by Stevie. Our very special guest today is an actor and model, and I'm super excited to find out his story, to find out more about him as he joins me today for our exclusive sit down interview. Please welcome to the Dollhouse, Fashion Dolls, James Howard. Let me share this live with him. This is his first time ever doing IG Live with me. So let me go on ahead and share the live. I hope you guys are loving today's look. It is officially spring fashion season, and I am definitely feeling the colors. It is definitely colorful what I'm wearing today. So I hope you all are doing as awesome as I am as we wait for James to get here. Hi, my love. Hi, everyone. Hi. He is here. So without further ado, please let's join me as we welcome our very special guest for today, James Howard. Let me go add. I just sent the invite. I'm not sure what is going on. Let me try this. Let me try again and see if that will work this way. Because IG has been acting crazy lately, y'all. And again, I apologize. We had an interview scheduled today at 3 also, but my guest, I'm not sure where he is. I spoke with him earlier today, so hopefully we're going to reschedule and get Justin back on the show as well too. All right. Uh, says you're unable to join. Let me try. Let me see. Oh, and I see where you sent the invite. So let's see if it works that way. And I'm over here trying not to melt. There we are. Welcome to the Docs.
All right.
All right. Welcome. It is such a pleasure to have you here.
Glad to
Glad
make
to
it.
make it.
Figure.
Yes. First time here on Instagram Live. Very simple. So before we kick off this amazing interview and conversation, how has 2025 been for you so far?
So far, so good. Things are picking up a little bit. They've been slow for the past 2 or 3 years, ever since the pandemic and the writer's strike and the actor's strike and the proposed crew strike. So things have been slow, but they're picking up this year.
Yes. And we touched on that yesterday with George M. Dean. We touched on the pandemic and how it slowed down a lot of things. We were talking about Broadway theater and how a lot of shows had to stop because of the pandemic. How did you manage to get through 2020 to 2021 with everything being shut down? I know a lot of actors and stage theater was impacted by just the
Yeah.
pandemic alone. We've never experienced anything like that. So for you, how did you manage to get through?
I was working on one TV show. I forget what it was in Cleveland. And the next day they said, don't come in the next day. And then that was it. Things just stopped. Um, There were a few that there were a few productions, just not many, and they were going through all kinds of precautions, like putting us up in hotels, putting us in little pods when we were on set, all kind of things. So I struggled through it, and there were a few low budget SAG productions going on, commercials, things like that. So and I had to leave Pittsburgh and just travel just to keep working, but I made it through.
Yes. So salute to you for making it through because a lot of actors had to sort of regroup and make the shift because we've never experienced anything like this. And my mother literally said it's like the world is coming to an end because everything is shut down. We've never experienced anything from being able to be distance away from your family and friends and loved one. So for you going to Pittsburgh, what was it like for you taking that shift, making that move with everything that is going on from 2020 to 2021?
Well, it was just difficult, traveling, um, a train, plane, um, and um, and I just traveled close by, East Coast, so I kept it kind of close. But it was difficult. It was unusual. It was like I remember when I was a kid, there was a big time snowstorm where the snow was above the cars, and nobody moved on the streets, and everything seemed unreal. And that's the way it felt, when we were deep in a pandemic. Everything felt unreal, and people didn't even leave the house. I mean, I drove around outside. I'm thinking it's safe to drive around through the parks, but there was nobody out on the streets, which I kind of enjoyed.
Yes, and even going to the stores, like my cousin, when the pandemic was going on, me and my before it even happened, me and my cousin would go shopping religiously. Me and my cousin and my family, we would go shopping religiously. And then after 2020 hit, it's just like, okay, we got to be strategic about this. What can we do? And so we created a whole family group chat. We were sharing recipes and everything. So I mean, it brought out also the creativity in us. So for you as an actor and as a model, what are some of the things that you've had to overcome to get to this point in your career? Because you are a Renaissance man. Almost every man that I've interviewed has been a Renaissance man. It's about finding balance with family and your career. So, what are some of the obstacles and hurdles that you've had to overcome to get to this point in your career?
Well, lack of work. It's not that you can just apply and get it. So, the auditions and things, the turn downs, um, and I'm a practicing Buddhist, and as a Buddhist, we take everything, we turn everything positive. Turning poison into medicine is what we do. And so even some of the things that might seem negative weren't really negative. They were positive in terms of what I learned or didn't learn, from those things. Um, so, I mean, I took everything in stride, and I do now. As Renaissance, I mean, we always have to reinvent ourselves. Today, tomorrow, same man can never step into the same river. There ain't nothing the same. So I just look at the obstacles really as a strengthening tool and just keep moving.
Absolutely, absolutely. You said practice in Buddhism. That was going to lead me to another question that I wanted to ask you. And we touched on that as well too. In all of the midst of the noise and chaos, what are some tips that people can practice on staying centered? Because we've been touching on that a lot throughout every single interview that I've had this week. We've been touching on staying centered and self-care. And how important is it to help with your career? Because we all have to find that balance, that niche of everything that is going on. We have to turn off and tune out sometimes and unplug from the world. Just, your phone, computer, everything.
Exactly.
Television is too much overwhelming. So for
Exactly.
you, what
Well,
would you, what advice would you
med-
give?
meditation comes in handy.
Oh,
Any type of meditation, regardless of what you practice. I used to get a lot of, um, I guess, what do you call it? Quality time to myself when I used to go on long trips and drive. No phone, nobody talking to you. In a hotel room for 3 or 4 hours alone. Those kind of things, or wherever you're at. But finding a little bit of meditation and peace and quiet in your mind, calming yourself down. And if you can find your happiness, then you can help others find theirs. If you can help others find theirs, then you can find yours.
absolutely. Absolutely. And that's something that I thrive in, which is bringing people joy, putting a smile on people's face, because you never know what the next person could be going through in their life in that period. Or
True.
sometimes we wake up, we have a bad day. We feel like the world is coming to an end. We feel like things are not working out in our favor. But I always try to put a smile on someone's face or at least smile at someone and make them feel happy. And I'm a hugger. I'm a hugger. I'm a very affectionate person. So I'm always hugging. I'm always encouraging. I'm always giving you a pat on the shoulder. Like I'm always going to be the friend that's going to lift you up when you're feeling down. And that's what we have to do. And especially in these dire times for one another is lift each other up. And speaking of lifting up, my brother K Tukes, shout outs to my brother, the K Tukes spot, always coming through, showing me mad love and support. And when I tell you, James, he will text me, he will call, sister, is everything okay? We have to have those type of people in our circle to check on us, to make sure that we're good, to keep us grounded, to keep us centered and focused. So as we talk about meditation and practicing the art of stillness, it's important that we reflect in our life, in our career, in our legacy, and what we want to do. That was something that I touched on with George yesterday when we had our interview, as well as Kentrell. We touched on that about practicing uh, stillness and being one with the earth. And my colleague, shout outs to him, Bubs the God, he was saying something about I like to go out. One day I'd like to go outside and walk barefoot on the earth. And I've seen people do that, and they're just like, it's a spiritual thing. In a way, because you're getting connected with the earth, you're getting connected with the creator, you're getting connected with human nature, the subconscious as well as the conscious. And I want people to realize that nature is here for a reason. God makes no mistakes. So for you, other than meditation, we talk about self-care a lot on my platform. That leads me to my next part of the conversation. What are some methods of self-care other than just driving and taking a trip? What else do you do on your downtime for self-care? Because I know that being an actor, being a model, being in this business overall, it is a balance because you are on call 24/7. So for you, how do you find that balance and what methods of self-care do you indulge in?
Well, I like to exercise a little bit.
Oh yeah.
Because if sometimes people feel like, well, I'm not in the best of health. Well, if you're not in the best of health and your brain is part of your body, you're not going to be in the best of thoughts. So, I believe in just keeping your body healthy along with your brain and and your attitude and your thinking, the metaphysical portion of it. Um, and, um, um, and also enjoying life. It sounds real easy, but a lot of people don't know when to enjoy it. They don't, on a beautiful day when the flowers are blooming, they might not even take a second out and say, oh my God. They just keep on going on and, what they're doing. So I think it's important to realize the beauty of life in every second of it. I saw a painting the other day. I think it was a famous painting, but it wasn't nothing but a man sitting in a cafe in a rainy, narrow street in Europe. But somehow that instant was important enough to capture. And every second, every instant we are alive, it's important.
Yes.
So it's not how long you live. Yeah, go ahead.
And authenticity, living in authenticity. We've lost so many people, and that's why I tell people all the time, it's important that we give people their flowers while they're here right now, because tomorrow's never promised. We could wake up and well, we could not wake up, but I'll be thankful for the moments where you're able to open your eyes and say and take a breath and say, God, I made it, or whatever, element that you believe in, the earth, the creator, whatever, the father, all of this. Live your life, because tomorrow is definitely not promised. And I tell
Yeah,
people to do this all the time: live life through fire. So that means if you have a passion, go for it. If it's something that you want to work on it right now.
I
Like
agree.
now's the time.
I
Plan
agree.
and envision and find an escape. And I know an escape for me is reading. So that drawing of the portrait that you were saying of the man in the cafe, I love art as well too. Art is an escape. Gardening is an escape. My mother's got me onto that, and I still haven't found my green thumb yet. I I am not experienced with that, but learning from my mother is what makes me get into it. Cooking is also an outlet. So everyone has to find an outlet for them that works in these times for all of
Yeah,
us. And mental health is definitely a thing. So make sure that you are protecting your peace, protecting your intake, because what you take in can reflect and show on the inside as well as the outside. And the reason why I come on every single day looking hydrated, moisturized, uh, Skin is glowing, makeup, hair, everything glamorous, beautiful, because I take care of myself. And not only that, but I'm selfless. I take care of others. So when you get up in the morning, say an affirmation to yourself. One of the affirmations that I say to myself every morning, and I look in the mirror and I do it over and over, is I am worth it. You are worth it because you have a purpose. And we all have a purpose. And it's important that we figure out our purpose in life. So I ask a lot of people that question, like, what do you want your life and your legacy to be? And James, you're a vet in the business. You've been in the business. So what are some gems that you would give to the next generation following in your footsteps as actors and models? Because there's so many young male actors that are coming up following right behind you and so many others. What gems would you give them?
Well, I would say, just go for it. Always be working, always be looking, always be listening, always be searching for work, making contacts with people. Um, there's always something to do. If I'm sitting on a bus or a train, quietly sitting there, there's something I can do. I can get on my phone, I can search, I can read and do research and do inquiries. So I would say just always be working, uh, ABW, and let me see, and just be persistent. Don't let nobody tell you you're not this or you're not that. You are what you say you are. So um, as long as you can, and it's not how long you live, it's what you do while you're living. I think there's some kind of fly that lives like one day, but who knows? In that fly's lifetime, it may feel like 80 years. It's just not how long we live; it's what we do while we live. And I say take every second of it, as long as you're conscious, and do something positive, especially towards your focus or your art, and help others, of course, um, as you move along.
Absolutely. And find your tribe, find your circle of people who encourage you. As I've mentioned, my brother K Tukes and Chrissy, who's another one, and they show me so much love and support. So find your tribe of people who uplift you, as well as my colleague Bubs the God, as well as Tony Holly, as well as Kenny Stallings, and so many others that keep me uplifted, that keep me just centered. A girlfriend of mine, my friend that I went to school with, Felicia, and so many others, Simone, Ro Underwood, all of them, my girls, they keep me grounded. So find your tribe of people who keep you focused and on the straight and narrow path because you're going to get distracted. There's a lot of distractions out here. And what we're
Absolutely.
seeing going on in these times is a lot of smoke and mirrors to try to get us to try to stop us from getting to our destination and next chapter in life. And speaking of next chapter, that was going to be a big question that I wanted to ask you. With you having tenure in this business, if you were to create a bio on your life, what
Hmm.
actor would you get to portray you in a story about your life? Because we talk a lot about legacy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I would probably get Denzel if it was somebody portraying my current age. Um, but I respect his work ethic, his
Yes.
creativity.
All right. I'm sorry, James. Go ahead.
It's okay. He's very he's uh, very artistic and he's a workaholic. But I would and I think he's a good actor. He plays himself while he's playing the characters. It's something that I like to follow behind. You would never see me play the Joker or maybe Crying on Demand, but the parts I play are the parts I play are me, um, or a portion of me. And anyway, I think I would probably choose him if I had the chance to.
And I'm so glad you mentioned the Joker because we talk a lot about that too. As an actor, and a lot of actors have said that I've had to separate myself away from the character because it became personal to me. And
Hmm.
at that point in your career, like Heath Ledger, we talk a lot about the Joker and how he took that character over the edge. He did an outstanding job, yes,
Yeah,
but mentally, taking that along with him, it was a lot because he had to wear the Joker's cross. And when you are an actor, you're having to put yourself in the position of that person. You're having to put that person's shoes on. and where that person's cross. And sometimes the cross can be too heavy of a burden for the actor to carry. And it's just like at a certain period of time, whew, I need to take a break. I'm no longer the character. I am myself now.
That's
So you
why it's
put on
important.
the mask and then you take the mask off when you are home. Because
Yeah,
family, I've seen stories where actors, another example would be Kiki Palmer. Kiki Palmer said, I played the role of a pimp, and she did. And I was talking like the character and everything, and I brought it home, and I think either her sister or her mom who said, "Girl, why are you talking like this?" She was like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I'm still in character mode." Cause see, you have to be able to separate it. That's method acting. That's good
yeah,
act,
yeah,
but
or choose roles that you're proud of. Denzel, he didn't like being a bad guy in
oh
Training Day.
yeah.
He said of all the awards he gonna get one to playing a bad guy. So he decided to have the character die in the end because he didn't want the good guy, bad guy to, wind up living. But I think he chooses the right characters. I don't think you'd ever see him play, the wrong character.
And you know what? He doesn't make it personable. Another actor who doesn't make it personable, and I love this lady so much, I would have to say Felicia Rashad. Felicia Rashad,
Okay.
she doesn't make it personable. And to her, whether she's playing Claire Huxtable, and we've seen her in a number of other roles. This woman has done theater, she's done Broadway. Another would have to be Ruby Dee. Another would be Dorothy Dandridge. For me, these women are
Yeah.
the blueprint. And it's
Yeah.
just like they've done theater, they've done
Well,
live.
I've worked with Viola Davis and Denzel Washington, and
Oh,
they're very, it's like taking an acting lesson, actually. Just being next to them while they do their craft.
and it's such a regalness about Denzel and Viola. Viola, when she does it, it's just like you feel the anger that she's feeling. It's just like, oh, like all of these different ranges of emotions that she goes through when she's portraying these characters.
Hmm.
You are feeling it. You can be a man, you can be a woman, you can be anybody, but whatever pain that she's feeling, she taps into that space. And another actress that does that is Angela Bassett.
Yes. Yeah.
She does it very well. And you have to find a place to separate the two and not make it personable, but also pull from your personal experience. So if you, like she said, for Waiting to Exhale, she was channeling her mother because her mother would say certain things. It was certain mannerisms that her mother would do. And she picked up off of that and she tapped into what her mother would say, what her mother would do, even to the point where she flicked the cigarette. That was her mother. She
Hmm.
tapped into her mother. So it's about being able to tap into certain elements that you've never tapped into before. And when that director says, okay, cut, we got what we want. That's what you want.
Hmm.
Master that art, master it, and make that character come to life. And one thing I've learned about films for sure is that the audience, us the consumers, can either love or hate the character. And you know when you've done, like you've mentioned with Denzel and Training Day, which is one of my favorite action films. I'm more of a I love comedies and rom-coms and dramas and mysteries as well as a little bit of action and horror. But that's one of my favorites, Training Day. But for him to be able to tap into this villainous character, it shows you the range that Denzel has. Now we see him as what Othello, and it's
Hmm.
just like, wow,
Breaking all kind of records. Yeah.
man. And that was going to be my next question for you. What are your thoughts on Denzel in Othello? Because a lot of actors have taken the approach where they said, okay, I've done film, I've done this. Now I want to go back to theater. I want to go back to my roots.
Well, theater is real acting. I do film acting because, well, I've never had no real training. No, I've never taken an acting class. I came in through the back door, so to speak, and I do roles that fit me real perfectly. So maybe the acting can be at a minimal. But um, I mean, as far as theater, that's the real acting, and that takes. I did one play, Misery, and I got to give it to all the actors. The lines, the tension, you can't make a mistake. You can't do 5 and 10 takes. So I got to give it to him. And if you want to be a really good film actor, I think you'd have to have some basis in theater, or you have to go to theater. And then Shakespeare, that's a totally different thing. And obviously Denzel's deep into that. He did good in Gladiator 2, and he's done very well on Broadway. And I'm hoping he comes back to Pittsburgh to finish up the other 7 plays of August Wilson's 10-play cycle.
Oh my God, yes. And August Wilson's The Piano Lesson,
Right,
The
right.
Wiz, of course.
Yeah.
What's another one? A Raisin in the Sun. For Colored Girls, When the Sun Shines. I mean, it's so many of them that show us in a light that we're multifaceted. We're not a monolith. As Black actors, it showcases our range. So when I've seen Denzel in the trailer for Gladiator, I'm like, oh yeah, this is real. He about to show out in this film. And it's just like every character that he's portrayed, he's brought life. When you're using your body as a vessel for this character, even though you're yourself, but you're putting your body on the line for this character. You're using them, you're breathing life into them, you're using yourself as a vessel to make this character come to life and make people want to know more about their story, make people want to know more about you.
Sure.
Like the villain in the films, it makes people want to know more about the villain's backstory. That's the way I see it. Even yeah, we know the bad guys there,
Mm,
but it makes people want to know what is it that is a trigger point that have made this person like a villain. What is it that this person has gotten to this point, and how did this person get this way? You know,
yeah.
but we know about the protagonist. We know about the good guy in the film and their backstory, but the villain, that makes people want curious to know more about them as well too. So that's what it's about, showcasing that range, that and also that vulnerability. And that's something that Denzel is capable of doing, being able to show that vulnerability, being able to show the strength in his acting. And even for Viola Davis, like I said, she is a certain regalness that she has about her that makes her the top tier, the creme de la
Yeah.
creme, in every single role that she's portrayed, whether it's the show, Annalise Keaton. Hi, Kino. Hey, girl. How are you, my love? We were just talking about Denzel Washington. I asked James who would he like to portray him in a story about his life, and he said Denzel. And we're talking about Denzel in Othello. If you guys have not seen it, because I do want to go see it. Now, with Broadway theater, it's a completely different experience, and this is something that me and George was talking about yesterday on the show. Broadway theater is a completely different experience than how we're doing our interview now. Yes, it's live, but what's so crazy is, and James, I'm pretty sure you've experienced and seen it firsthand, the audience, us, the viewers, will give that actor on the stage, we will literally talk back and have dialogue with them like, no, you're not supposed to. It's funny. But that's the energy in the room. That's what the directors and producers want. We want you to feel it because you could have known someone or could have personally seen something that has happened and it's personal to you. And it's just like, no, that's not right. Or, yeah, now I see why. So it's different ranges to uh, showcasing a character in a film. And I think it's important that we continue to highlight that. Denzel does an amazing job. Viola does an amazing job. And I think another actress that does an amazing job of it too is Loretta Devine. Loretta
Hmm.
Devine, one of the Dream Girls. It's like,
Yeah.
and Shirley Ralph, of course, too. I love her.
Yeah.
But again, these women come from Broadway. They come from theater. They come from that. And I'm gonna go back a minute for Shakespeare. It's so crazy you mentioned Shakespeare. We touched on that yesterday too, because in high school, I'm telling my age. I'm 31, by the way, y'all. um, in my public speaking ELA class, oh my God, my teacher made me and my classmates recite one of the lines from A Midsummer Night's Dream, and we had to stand up before the class and do it, and I was nervous, and that has helped me since then. I still remember it. Out, out, brief candle was one of the lines. And so I had to stand up and present it in front of the class, each and every one of us. I'm like, why are we all nervous? We see each other every day. And so that opened the door for me to get into what I'm doing currently right now, which is speaking in front of people, because I was not always this outspoken, y'all. I did not think that I was the best speaker. I was nervous, I was scared, I was shy, but now it sort of made me come out of my shell. And things like this can really help you in your career along the way as well too. So Shakespeare, I must say I give credit for William Shakespeare all the way, because if it wasn't for A Midsummer Night's Dream, you would not see the host. You guys call me the hostess with the mostest, and I appreciate it. um, if it wasn't for A Midsummer Night's Dream, I would not be here hosting this platform, reading so eloquently, answering questions so eloquently, coming on prepared and organized. Everything. Shakespeare's taught me a lot. So I'm glad my English language arts teacher put us onto that, and we read more. Um, I think we also read Othello in the class as well too, and she just kept going. And then we watched the film as well too. So she wanted us to get that full experience,
Sure.
and then we had to take a test on it. So didn't do so well on the test, but I made it up. I had to go back and retake it. But I give my English language arts teacher credit for her molding us and preparing us for the real world, because these things are strategies that also help us go along the way for public speaking, for our jobs, for our careers, for later on down the line. So that's how I speak so eloquently and so proper, is because of that. My teacher, she said, and she was real strict. She said, don't pronounce it. Don't say ain't. You don't say it like that. She was very strict, but one thing I loved her for was steering us in the right path. That's one
Good.
thing she did. She steered us all in the right path. And she wanted us all to be great in all of our accomplishments. And this was around my senior year. She came back and she told us, she said, I want y'all all to be amazing out here and make something of yourselves.
Good.
And that's what I give Shakespeare credit for. So, yes, 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 yes. Those were the days in high school. We had to do it. But I couldn't get over the class just being nervous. Like, we see each other every day. Like, why are we nervous? We talk to each other every day. We're always sitting at lunch with one another every day. So I mean, why are we nervous? Relax, we got it. But when we went out in the real world, this is what she was trying to prepare us for. Standing up and speaking in front of people. I remember I had to deliver a speech on bullying. And this was like at we were attending a college program, prepping us for college and everything. And I said, let me do it. Let me do it. I was nervous. And I was telling my peer tutor at the time that I was nervous as well. And he was like, well, you got this. Everybody was like, you got this. I had to make flyers and everything, but I just spoke from the heart. And that's what it's about. Acting is about pulling from the heart, pulling from a place that is personal to you. And at the end of the day, it's like that switch. You turn it on, you turn it off,
Yep.
and know when to turn it
So,
off.
yeah.
Leave it on the playing field, as people would say. Leave it on the playing field. Don't bring that character home with you, because people will be like, huh? Your family members will look at you crazy like, what is going on right now? But yes, that's what we want people to be conscious and aware of. And Aquino says, James, you look good. And hey, Miss T Ford, how are you? Welcome, 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 my girls. So my next question for you is, we talk a lot about legacy. You've left a legacy and an imprint. You've been in the business, been a vet in the business a long time. What is something that you want to leave behind in your legacy? Because I know a lot of us sit and we brainstorm. Okay, I've done this in my life. I've done this in my life. What is next for me? And what do I want to accomplish? So what is next for James Howard?
Well, I would like to, as far as the legacy, I would like to have something physical, a community center, a art center, something like
Hmm.
that, where people go and I mean, when we plant trees, we don't benefit from the shade of those trees. Other people do, but we benefit from the shade of trees people planted before us. That's kind of legacy I want to believe. I want to have a nice building somewhere or a nice community center, someplace to go where someone can say, I don't know who made this building or who built this center, but I'm glad they did. And they can benefit from it. Um, there's no telling.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm so glad that you said that those seeds that we plant, we have to water them so that they can grow, so that they can nourish and just strengthen and build and fortify and encourage people. So I've even thought about it being young in my age, thinking about it. And I'm so honored to be sitting with you in your presence and hearing these gems, taking this all in because as someone who's in their 30s and as life goes on, as time goes by, I always sit and I think as I'm writing because I have a diary. I'm always in my diary writing, always in my diary writing and brainstorming on what is the next part and next chapter of my life. We all have to think about that. At a certain period of time, we have to think about what is next for me, whether it's in your career, whether it's with family, whether it's okay, you anything you want to do, you're always thinking about what is going to be the next phase for me. And it's important that we sit and we take the time to be in the present and get in touch with that inner spirit, that intuition that is telling you, okay, it's time for you to start that business. Go ahead and do it. And sometimes I can tell you this, taking a leap of faith can be scary. Because I started this platform right after high school. 2016 was when I started Style by Stevie, and it wasn't originally called this. It was Weekdays Topics, and we would do it at 11 o'clock, sort of like The View. But we would cover pop culture, and we would have maybe some musical interviews, actor interviews, and then we just continued on from there on and so forth and so on. And here we are now, currently about to hit 800 interviews and counting. Is so many coming up. But I say that to say this. I didn't think it was going to work at first, and a lot of us, we doubt ourselves. And I think that it's important that we don't doubt ourselves, that we jump out and take that leap of faith. And taking the leap of faith can be scary. Trust me, I know. I didn't know how people was going to react to Weekdays Topics, now Style by Stevie. I didn't know how people was going to receive it. I'm just like, okay, you got fashion. Yeah, people like clothes, but they get tired of hearing about it 24/7. So I say, you know what? Nah, scratch that. Let's do something different. Let me tell my story. Let me share what I love with the world, which is the arts, which is pop culture, which is politics, which is what's going on in the world, but do it in a way that is so hip, funky, fresh, and not only just that, but revolutionary in a way where people are not bored, in a way where people are focused and engaged. And people are definitely focused and engaged. And they're coming back for more. It's just like the queen bee that has all the honey. And they're just like coming into you, like, what is it that Miss Stevie has? What is it that she has? What is it that James has that keeps them both coming back for more to make us want to go and watch what they're doing? So that's the factor that people have to have. You have to have that mystery. And the mystery is what's so alluring to people. The conscious as well as the subconscious. And what's we in the game shows they say, okay, what's behind curtain number one? What are you gonna do next? Do you choose curtain number one or do you want to choose the box? Deal or no deal?
Mhm.
Shout outs to Wayne Brady if he ever sees this. But I want people to know that mm, mystery is the beauty. There's beauty in the mystery, and that's what makes us so unique in each and every one of us in our own divine right. And I want you all to tap into that mystery, tap into whatever you're fearful of. And again, a career move can be scary, but you'll never know if you don't try. And I've had times where I've had to go back to the drawing board with this platform and start over. And my mother was right there encouraging me, saying, okay, if you feel uninterested in doing this, find a backup plan. Because that's our parents'
My
go to
battery is,
all
my
the
battery might
time. They
be
won't get
getting low.
concerned. Yeah, have that backup plan. Uh-oh, I think we lost James, y'all. I think we lost him. Give it a minute, but I was saying that I want you all to have a backup plan. Have a plan A and a plan B and regroup. If you have to go back to the drawing board, do so. Definitely. Because change can be scary for all of us, but I want you all to know that stepping out is a beautiful thing. Change is beautiful. So I look at change as fashion because I'm always changing my look. I'm always reinventing myself and thinking of, okay, what is next for me? What am I going to do now? What am I going to do now? We have to sit and think about those things. Uh-oh. I think we lost James. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add him back. And I just dropped my top for my water. So again, I'm going to wait a little bit. James, let me know if you're ready to come back up in the queue and I will add you back up. Or you can press that plus and I'll add you in. But in the meantime, I want you guys all to make sure that you are subscribed to Style by Stevie Daytime. Head on over there and subscribe and check out the interviews. And also click my community tab on my YouTube channel because there's a lot of information that you guys could use. I'm telling you. And make sure you're following me here on the gram as well too for all things political. I'm going to keep my foot on this administration's neck, the orange man, definitely and rightfully so. Um, and I'm going to make sure that we are all informed on what's going on around us. It's a lot, but we are in this together. We're going to be all right. But I'm also going to be vigilant, and I want everyone to be vigilant as well. So let me see if James is back in here. And we're going to wrap from here. Nope, I don't see him. I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. I think either his phone died or the call might have dropped him. I'm not sure. But I'm going to leave you guys with this final thought of the day, Fashion Dolls. And that final thought comes from Margaret Thatcher. She says this. She says that you may have to fight a battle more than once to win it. And I want you all to know that the fight isn't over. We will continue to grow. We will continue to fortify. We will continue to have magnitude, have gratitude, all of these things that make us unique in our own way. I got the Pamela Anderson hair going on today, y'all. I love it. But yeah, that's it, Fashion Dolls. Joining me tomorrow, we have Bryce LP. So make sure you guys tune in tomorrow, closing out this week of interviews. Again, we are on the road to 800 shows. And I want to say thank you all so much. And I will have James's information tagged in today's show. Take care, Fashion Dolls, and I'll